Aquarius, the Lilith repressed this is when her sacred rebellion is muted, punished, or disassociated. Feels like an outsider or too weird to belong anywhere. Suppresses her visionary ideas to avoid judgment or being too much. Lives in her head, emotionally detached, disembodied, and scattered. Chooses intellectual detachment over vulnerability to avoid getting hurt. Silences her voice in group dynamics. Fears being cast out, canceled, or misunderstood. Distrusts her intuition and downloads, thinking they're irrational or woo. Tries to be hyperlogical and reasonable in a world that shames her wildness, feels restless, rebellious, but has no channel for that energy, stuck in chaos or apathy, becomes performatively unique, using rebellion as a mask for unprocessed grief, disconnected from her body's sensuality or emotional intelligence, rejects leadership or impact to avoid responsibility or persecution, internalized shame around being neurodivergent, mystical, queer, or unconventional. So if you look at the zodiac and there's the guy, sometimes it's a woman, and there's the picture of water, and water is flowing into Pisces. To me, if Pisces is the primordial waters of the mother, the actual womb of the mother, so then Aries, the birth of consciousness, can birth out of that water, out of the womb, then who's Aquarius? If Aquarius is pouring water into the primordial mother, is that coming from the galactic center? And if the galactic center is a cluster of galaxies and the great attractor beyond all the multiverses is moving this whole thing, where's this Aquarius energy coming from, huh? So I think this is really cool because this is way outside the box, right? This is like way outside. This is like true pioneer, inventive energy. And so I think this is really cool. And one of the things that I want to say is, man, I mean, like, what do we want to say? But let's bring it back to the body. So disconnected from her body's sensuality or emotional intelligence. So if you're that far out there, then it might feel really uncomfortable to be in your body and be a woman. And so that disconnection is really going to wreck shop on your body. It's going to cause a lot of problems if you're not connected mind, body, and soul in this physical vessel. And so if you're feeling that and you're feeling afraid of how you're different and how you don't relate and how you feel kind of awkward with things, it's like, okay, let's really learn how to embrace this so that instead of getting stuck in the chaos or the apathy, because it's like, what's the use, right? Apathy or the chaos, trying to use everything. It's like, okay, if knowing what we know, all the things in our chart, all the ways that we're doing the eating and exercise that I just talked about in the last slide. So go watch the last slide if you are watching just this one. Then how do you actually find that middle ground to where your Lilith is being look under the rug, pierce the veil in a really productive way? So here it is. The Evolved Priestess, this is when she becomes the liberated code breaker, channeling frequency, future, and freedom. Speaks truth that bends time. She is the oracle of innovation, the seer of the new era. Rewrites paradigms, doesn't fit into boxes because she was born to dismantle them. Marries cosmic insight with embodied presence, downloads, meet, dance. Love that. Sees the collective patterns, the soul blueprints, the ancestral grid lines, uses her voice to electrify consciousness, memes, posts, rants, rituals, spells. Channels nervous system regulation through quantum awareness, holds space for outsiders, misfits, and change makers to become their own revolution, lives by energetic alignment, not by external norms, sovereignty over safety, uses her body as a conduit for source, breath, sound, movement as tech, activates freedom in others just by being fully herself, bridges ancient wisdom with future tech, astrology, energy work, liberation movements. She is the system upgrade here to deprogram, awaken, and remember. So my Mercury and Venus are in Aquarius. I forgot to mention that. And if we're looking at this from this evolutionary standpoint of there is something pouring into the primordial mother of Pisces, right? Well, if the true new year starts in Aries season, then those 12 months around the zodiac is a year of completion to then go back into the dark womb of the mother, to go back to the primordial waters in Pisces season to then rebirth. So what if this Aquarius placement of your Lilith is how we're actually going to rebirth society, right? This is how you rebirth yourself. So instead of feeling like you're so overwhelmed because you have all of this energy, which I totally relate to, it's like, fuck, like there's just like so much input coming in all the time. You're like, what thing do you focus on? What thing matters the most? Instead of getting overwhelmed with all of that stuff, if you can take that North Node placement, if you could take your Lilith and take your Chiron so that you can balance the masculine and the feminine energy, stay attuned to your North Node, check in with what do you actually want for your body? Are you here to get out of pain and disease? Are you here to get hot? Are you here to use your body and the tools to align your energy and use your body as the earth, as the actual mother to create something like that when you have that, it's like, oh my gosh, like what are you going to do with your life? This is absolutely incredible. Sees the collective patterns, the soul blueprints, and ancestral grid lines. Pluto is in Aquarius right now. Pluto is a transpersonal planet. A transpersonal planet is something that affects the generations. So you can look up Pluto's in Scorpio type, all these different types. Well, we just moved into Pluto and Aquarius, and Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. So your Aquarius placement of this Lilith, to see the collective patterns, to see in the past, Pluto is there kind of helping you, not kind of, is there helping you to be like, okay, so if we're building this next society in Aquarian energy, first of all, what is Aquarian energy? Second of all, what did we already experience that we can learn from that then we can create? The soul blueprints, really looking at our charts and getting back to the mysticism before it had to become concrete history. The mysticism was how early peoples described the experience of life, described their consciousness. And so if you can see how when we were connected to our menses and we revolved our life and our work and the tribe around a woman's menstrual cycle, around the moon cycle, and how the moon was transmitting energy from whatever planets were transiting or aspecting and opposing and conjuncting and squaring and sextiling. Like when we had all of that to really use this natal chart in our human design as a soul blueprint, but then also the ancestral grid lines, because your ancestors are in your cells. So you have all this emotional intelligence on a cellular level, the chemicals, and you have all the emotional intelligence from the mind. That is feminine and masculine. We're coming back to how do we actually live together as one? And so this is a really incredible placement for you. So I'm really glad you're here. Okay, the repressed Lilith would say, they won't love me if I'm too different. The evolved would say, I'm not here to fit in. I'm here to rewire the future. Go you. I'm so excited.